Are you a fan of the Dragon Ball Super card game? If so, check out QueenCityGaming.com for sealed product, singles, and more. Just use promo code MafubaJar-10 to save 10% off your order every time.
Welcome back to the Mafuba Jar. We've been sealed away for another awesome deck profile. And today, guys, I'm going to be profiling you the new and improved, upgraded Mono Blue Goku deck that you saw from last week's battle against the Broly. We saw that a few changes need to be made, and I've been testing it ever since, and it's been working so much better. So I didn't want to give you guys like a very faulty deck when it was clear that there was a lot of improvements that could be made. So I went ahead and made the improvements. As I said, I've been testing it myself, and it works a whole lot better. So now I feel fully comfortable profiling this deck for you guys. And as you guys can see, this is the, as people like to say, the starter coup leader. But this is actually from the first starter deck. And what's really amazing is that this guy has been meta relevant since day one, basically. Like, the only time he ever took a back seat is when we had Super Saiyan 3 Goku in the format. But with him being banned, he has risen back up. And even by today's standards, he is still an absolute force to be reckoned with. So let's go ahead and look at what he does for those of you who don't know. So when he attacks, you choose up to one of your blue energy and switch it to active mode. So you get to just spend your energy and then attack to just restand it, so you have something for either combo or negate fodder. So that alone is amazing. This is before set 3, so when your life's at 4, you draw 2 cards instead of the retapping 2. But with this leader, that's perfectly fine because you get the best of both worlds. And he does have the premise where if you have 5 or more energy during your turn, he gains 5,000 power. So at 5 energy, he becomes a 20k speeder. So that's pretty good for a leader. And his auto is when he attacks, he draws a card. Also, you get to choose up to 2 of your blue energy and switch it to active mode. So that's what I mean. You get the best of both worlds. You draw 2 on Awakening, and when he attacks, you untap 2 blue energy, which is just insane. So as I said, by today's standards, that's amazing. And just so many things you could do with this. But I chose this particular Mono Blue mainly because of the new Gogeta stuff, which there will be plenty of that here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cards I run. So I do run 4 copies of Burnished Barnes Borgos. Just being able to lock out our opponent from Senzu Bean is just really, really powerful. Like, and on top of that, you get to draw a card as well. So really, really awesome. And what's cool is that say you're going up against the mirror match with the starter coup leader, which is I don't want to say very common, but it's not uncommon either. You just play this down, and then they can't use their leader to retap their energy unless they get rid of him, because that's not an awakened skill. So it's just really, really dumb. And honestly, I'm both happy and scared that we're getting a yellow version of this in Whis come the structure deck, and just actually a day from today as this goes up. And next up for one-offs, I do run 3 copies of Cronoa. I only was running 2 before because I think, you could just run 2 side 2. But yeah, that match taught me otherwise, so I gotta run 3 of that Cronoa. Just too important. Locking out Shugesh is just so important because people are trying to get away with it again. Only 2 copy of Pan. Now I was running more Pan, but then I realized you're going to be taking hits anyway, not to mention you have the Vegeta already to just take life for you. So you don't really need to be rushing to take life early game. So you already have all you'll need for a late game. But still, having 2 copies is still pretty nice. Being able to attack, gain 10, and take a life is always really good. Not to mention the fact that she puts herself back into the hand. Like, part of me does kind of wish that this was either double strike or critical, but at the same time, I do also really like that she comes back to hand because you would swing, then put her back to hand to use as combo fodder if need be. Alright, that does it for my 1-drops. First of my 2-drops is going to be our super combo, the North Kai Keeping Watch. You could also run the Great Saiyaman in here if you want. I personally prefer this, is because even though, yeah, we are going to be using the Sparking Engine, yes, we will have cards in our drop area. I personally just feel that with Starter Coup, you'll be at 4 life before you get to the 5 in your drop. But like I said, if you want to do just 4 Great Saiyaman, or do you want to do 2 North Kai, 2 Great Saiyaman, perfectly fine either way. It's entirely up to you. And next up here, I run 3 copies of the feature rare. Son Goku, striving to be the best. It's a 2-drop with barrier, and your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 2 or less can attack. So that just locks out so much on your opponents, and it locks out their 1-drops, like all their Trunks, Kaba, Pan, for example, as well as like the 2-drop stuff, like the Solid Squad engine, for example, and just all that Universe 6 stuff. Well, not all of it, but it locks out a majority of it, which is really, really good. If this card's a little bit out of your price range, because last I checked, it could have gone down severely, but this card was sitting at about like almost $10 a piece. And as I said, if that's too much for you, you can run Crisis Crusher Goku instead. You get to play him out quicker, and you get to knock out 1-drops, which is pretty good. But the downside to that card is that it doesn't have barrier, and also the fact that it only stops the 1-drops for attack. It doesn't prevent 2-drops. This does, and it has barrier, so he's a lot harder to get rid of. But if it's too much, then honestly, I hope this card dropped in price. If it dropped in price, I forget everything I said. But if it's still in that high price range, then as I said, Crisis Crusher is a very good replacement as well. And we are going to be running 3 copies of Further Destruction Champa, just because hitting for a late game double strike is always good. Not to mention we do run Mira in here, so basically we want to almost guaranteed double strike for games. So that's definitely why I would run at least 3 Champa in there. And speaking of 3s, I'm going to be running 3 copies of Unbreakable Sand Goku. You combo with him and you get to draw a card. He's basically another super combo in the deck. And I really wanted to run 4. Like, I was so close to putting 4, but the deck space is really, really tight. And with how I was testing it, 3 was working just fine for me. But if you want to say cut a Champa for a 4th one, that's perfectly fine. Or if you just want to run 4 Cell instead, because that one is a lot easier to find. Because these, you have to find starter decks out there. And with Cell, you just have to open up some Miraculous Revival. It's just a common there, so yeah. Definitely the Cell is a lot easier to get if you don't have these. Either or is perfectly fine. And continuing on with our 4-drops, we've got 4 copies of At All Costs Vegeta. Now, this is a Gogeta deck, but this guy right here can win you games by himself. So, when you play him, you draw and you restand energy. As activate main, you pick 2 cards from your life, add them to your hand, and you gain 3,000 power for each energy you have for the duration of the turn. And if you have 5 or more energy when you do this, you get to knock out one of your opponent's battle cards, and he'll gain triple strike for the duration of the turn. So, 5 energy, you play him for 4. Essentially, you only play him for 3 because you're restanding when drawing a card. Like, it's just amazing. He's basically a 3-drop, knock out a card, self-awakening, triple strike attacker, which is mind-blowingly amazing. Like, he is arguably the best blue battle card we have in the game right now. Just like, he's so amazing. Now, this guy is definitely a money card, and unfortunately, while there are other cards out there, none of them will come even close to what this guy does. So, I am sorry on that, but I try to give budget options when I can, but he's just too good. Like, I literally cannot think of anything that would even come close to replacing this guy. But if you guys are able to, then please let me know. Or if I'm just missing something really obvious, please, please, please let me know in the comment section, because I would like to offer replacements for this guy, like more budget ones, but the way I see it at the moment, he's just too powerful. Alright, next up here, we're going to be running the 4 copies of Ultimate Fusion Gogeta. Now, this guy is really, really amazing. He's a 5-drop, but that's okay, because you get your energy's worth with him. So he's a 5-drop double strike, and his auto is when you have 5 or more cards in your drop area. When you play, you get to draw 2 cards, and then you choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and place them at the bottom of the owner's deck in any order. So it's basically kind of like the best card removal, because it doesn't fuel up the drop area for sparking, and it doesn't bounce them back to hand for them to use next turn. It bounces them to the bottom of their deck, and unless you're trying to deck them out, this has no downside. Like, it's incredible. And it's just, yeah, like, there's so many situations where this guy is good, especially to where if you're going against another blue deck that's running Borgos, you just play the Gogeta, get rid of the Borgos they have, and go back to restanding your energy. And here we have our main win condition here. The 7-drop Gogeta Hero Revived. This is another one to where it's kind of a money card, but once again, I unfortunately can't think of a replacement. It's just so powerful. So the only thing I could think of to maybe help the price is maybe just cut him down to 2. If you guys are kind of on a budget, but that would be the only thing I could think of, unfortunately. So he's a triple strike barrier with deflect. That alone's incredible. Like, that alone would just be blowing my mind. And his auto is a Sparking 10. When you play this card, if you have 5 or more energy, choose 1 card from your life and place it in the drop area, and your opponent shovels their entire hand and draws 3 cards. So it's basically a guaranteed triple strike, because they're only gonna have 3 cards in their hand, so the odds of them drawing into a negate are very, very slim. It's possible, but it's extremely slim that they're going to draw into a negate. So that's nearly a guaranteed triple strike right there. And again, 7 energy, it's a lot, but he's worth it. Like, you get your costs worth with the 2 Gogetas here. So never worry about losing value with these guys. The only way you lose value is if you don't meet the sparking requirement. So long as you meet that requirement, you get the energy's worth with these guys. And last up here for the battle cards, I am running 2 copies of Mira Creator Absorbed. Even though we're running Sparking, I do also have this card for Overwhelm, and he's just like for late game. Like, he's just the finisher. Like, if my opponent has like 2 prizes left, 2 life left, and I want to go for a mirror and they don't negate, I'll just Champa, and that's basically guaranteed. Like, that's a really busted thing about mirror. If they don't negate or block this guy, it's a guaranteed hit, because you could easily surpass 100,000 power without ever comboing, and it's just completely stupid. Alright, that does it for our battle cards. Now for our extra cards. Going to be running 4 copies of Dimension Magic, a really, really stupid negate card. You get to pay an energy and you restand 2 of your blue energy, and it has a Sparking 5 to where instead of paying an energy, you take a card from your life and just restand 2 energy. So tapping yourself out isn't really too much of an issue with this guy. It's just, of course, Storm you have to be a little bit careful with, and the whole lineage stuff. But other than that, like, man, tapping out's not really too much of an issue, because you have so many ways to just restand your energy that, like, it's stupid, honestly. Alright. Next up here, of course, running 4 copies of Sensu Bean. Even though we have Borgos and Whis coming, it's still just too powerful not to run, especially since we do have ways to get rid of those 1-drops. Because, thank Zeno, those things don't have barrier. I know we're getting like a Veku that does, but that's like Union Fusion, and he takes a little bit more to bring out. So with that, it's okay. And we do have heavy hitting stuff that does get rid of barrier now, but I'm just very grateful that the 1-drops don't have it, because that would be just scary. I am going to be running 4 copies of Objection as well. And what's cool about the leaders like restanding when he attacks is that pretty often I've been able to play 2 Objections on turn 2, and I just be at 5 energy by my 3rd turn, going into my Gogeta and just going ham from there. So really, really powerful. And last but not least, I am running 3 Mafuba! Now, let me be clear on something. This is the only leader that I would ever main 3 Mafuba. Because, like, normally I think main decking 3 Mafuba is way too much in any other deck. But with this guy, I think you can get away with it, because of the fact that he's constantly restanding energy when he attacks and all that stuff. So this, again, this is the only deck to where I would say running 3 Mafuba in the main deck is okay. Running 2 and siding 1 is perfectly fine in most decks, but maining 3, this is the only guy, once again, that I would recommend that for. I would actually argue against running 3 Mafuba in the main deck for any other leader other than that guy. So that does it for the Mono Blue Goku deck profile. If you guys like this video, be sure to smash that subscribe button, like, and comment down below you guys' opinions of the deck. And as I said, guys, I wasn't kidding. If you guys do know of a cheap replacement for that at all cost Vegeta that I'm just not seeing, please let me know. Because I really do want to give you guys the most budget options possible, because I fully understand what it's like to be a card player on a really tight budget. So I want to be able to give you guys any budget options I can from here and there, because I want all of you guys to be able to play this awesome game and not have to think, oh, I had to dump my whole wallet. No, you do not. There are lots of expensive cards in this game, but there are also lots of replacements for them. The Vegeta is just one of the few that I was drawing a blank on as to what to replace it for. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and with that, you have been released.